reality check for the liberals who think the midterms are in the bag. The latest CNN poll found Democrats trailing Republicans by 4 points in total party approval.
Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points.
There's a lot of rumors swirling out there that President Trump is going to lose the midterms, that the Republicans, that MAGA, they're fractured beyond repair, that it's inevitably over. And I'm here to tell you that that doesn't appear to be the case at all. It actually looks to be the reversal of that. More Republicans than ever are going to be showing up for the midterms. I mean, the proof is right there in the pudding. I mean, look at this right here. You have in 2024, 23-21 voter turnout according to this poll, and this year you've got a 5x likelihood of people that are going to be showing up for the midterms. That's huge. That's a massive increase from 2 years ago. So I guess I'm here to make this video to tell you that it looks like Trump flipped the midterms, and even CNN shows a poll that they don't really want to have to show, but it's very favorable for the Republicans. So all I ask in return from this video is for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you even want to take it one step above and beyond that, there's a join button, and you can just financially join as a channel member and support me, but don't feel like you have to. Now, let's get into this video because this is phenomenal.
Of the other party, if we don't get it done, or at least do everything that we possibly can to try to get it passed, I think there is a very significant risk that our own base doesn't show up for us in November. We worry about that. We also worry about the integrity and the security of our elections. Nobody knows exactly how things will pan out, in part because we don't yet know the extent of the problem. What we do know is that in the states that have started reviewing the voter registration files in order to weed out those who might have registered, perhaps inadvertently, perhaps intentionally, already there have been thousands of voter registration files identified just in the handful of states that have been doing their own review. The states that have not been doing their own review would yield really significant results if those reviews began. But a lot of those same states that are run by Democrats are not only not doing their own review, they're refusing even to share their voter registration files with federal officials in an attempt to try to go through it. It begs the question, why? When you add to that this additional dynamic of the handful of states in which some local elections openly allow non-citizens to vote, and the fact that they have also been unwilling to share that, and they've also been unwilling to explain how, whether, to what extent, in what ways they separated out those voter registration files.
Dude, you get rid of all the illegals, all the people that aren't supposed to be voting. You get rid of all that crap. I mean, America is going to be voting for Donald Trump. I mean, that's inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. And even here, President Trump shares a post. Seth Keshel, the best student of voter registration in the country, just reported that first time in history, GOP leads registration. Now Republicans up plus 2,000, 107,000 right of the 2024 election when Trump won by 3.2%. What that means is transplants are overwhelmingly Republican. And just a reminder that if you're a conservative and you're not voting in the midterms, you're silently voting for dudes in female spaces, unchecked mass illegal immigration, hormone therapy, abortion up until birth, which, I mean, Canada literally has that. Trust me, you don't want Canada being integrated into the United States. Funding for Ukraine, a packed Supreme Court, and a weaponized DOJ, and zero chance of ever going back to the country that you love. They want to demoralize you. They want you divided. That's how they win. This person here stands with President Trump, and I'll admit the GOP sucks, but the left will make the president's life a living hell if they get a chance. I'll do everything in my power to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I want to pass the question off to you. How do you feel about this? Are you motivated for this? Well, I'm here to tell you that CNN is having to actually report the facts, and it's not looking good for the Democrats. Let's have a look.
Let's just take a look at this. Net favorability. Party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006 on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply put running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate.
And it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen. Now, you've even got people like Bill Maher. I like to call him Bill Maher because it pisses a lot of people off the way I pronunciate that. Bill Maher in this clip says it's not that the Democrats are going to win, it's that the Republicans are going to lose. I disagree. I think the Republicans are going to win. More and more Republicans are showing up more than ever. People want the president. They want him to be successful. And, well, let's have a listen to what Bill Maher says, because he's got it half correct and half wrong.
We're going to have midterm elections very soon.
Yeah.
Now, here's the stats that are important. 7 in 10 people say tariffs have cost them money. Food is up 2.9% since January. Household debt up 4%.
Right.
Utilities up 6%.
Yeah.
Obamacare subsidies cut 22 million people. The Democrats are not going to win this election. The Republicans are going to lose it. There's a difference between not winning and losing.
And that's only assuming, by the way, I mean, the polls are showing differently, but that's only assuming that everything continues down a negative trajectory for the president. The president still has time to pull some bird, some rabbit, some magic trick out of his hat. And if you can rely on anything with President Trump, it's unpredictability. I mean, he is so good at what he does. He pulled off the unthinkable by even becoming president, not once, not twice, but technically 3 times. If you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, I wouldn't bet against President Trump. I just wouldn't.
Okay? The Democrats can't not win this because of all this that's going on. But that's kind of...
The Democrats can't not win this?
Not the
Democrats?
Not the midterms.
They've invented ways to lose.
Not the midterms. Okay. Not the midterms. Not the midterms. They're just going to say, let Trump win this one for us, and that's going to happen. But it's kind of like, I saw this game. You probably watch it because you see every game.
No, the Democrats are going to continue to fumble, and the Republicans are going to pull this off. Just trust the process. I believe it. I mean, even CNN saying it's not looking good for the Dems. They're losing confidence, right? It's more in favor of the Republicans.
I think it was the Cavaliers, and they won, like 138 to 132. And the coach after the game was pissed. His team won, but he said, like, if we're going to give up 132 points, we're not going anywhere in the playoffs.
He's right.
And that's what this reminds.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's maybe half true and half wrong. I think that President Trump, there's a lot of support for him. There's a lot of infighting right now with MAGA and that entire base on social media. But again, social media isn't necessarily the best reflection of real life. It's definitely a good indicator as to where things are. But President Trump is, I mean, he's Trump. He does it. I mean, they tried to impeach him. They tried to imprison him. They tried to get rid of him. They tried to kill him. And he's still here. He took a bullet for the country. Don't ever forget that.
Time for a reality check for the liberals who think the midterms are in the bag. The latest CNN poll found Democrats trailing Republicans by 4 points in total party approval. So why does America hate the Democrats so passionately? Perhaps Dana's former favorite Democrat, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger. Listen, she explains why.
There was a poll out that had your numbers a little unfavorable, and then your predecessor, Glenn, was making a podcast run earlier this week to taking a couple jabs at you. I guess overall, on your numbers, what do you attribute that to, and then what would you say back to Glenn?
I would say, if everybody hated me, why is everybody putting my face on their mailers for the referendum, would be question number 1.
And if you thought that was rough, check out Cory Booker's wife saying that standing almost killed him.
It's not super safe to stand for 25 hours. Like, your body kind of just like break down, and if you fall over, you could hit your head. So like, those are the things that were going through our head. Like, yes, I wanted him to break the record, but I also wanted him to not die. or like get injured. Wasn't going to eat for a really long period of time. Like just being dehydrated alone was like worrying me.
Your name was invoked, Dana, in the intro.
I will have to wear this forever. I was fooled by Abigail Spanberger. She asked a question. Why do they keep putting my names on these mailers? Because it's working against the Democrats. That's why they're putting the names on it. And in fact, a friend of mine said that their own polling shows that the most effective messages against Democrats in Virginia about this redistricting thing are when they are talking about her and putting her out there in her own words. So the other thing she did is she pulled this trick where she put out a press release saying, look at all these jobs I've created. And then she put out this press release, and it was like, no, I think some high percentage, like 85% of those jobs were created under Glenn Youngkin. So she's trying to take credit for something she didn't even do.
Typical Democrats, typical liberal mentality, trying to take credit for something that they didn't do. I'm telling you, trust the process. It's looking good for President Trump. Democrats are going to fumble this, and people are going to, even if they, you've got diehard MAGA people right now that are feeling a little bit uncertain of things because of, current geopolitical tensions and stuff like that, and the war in Iran. By the time the midterms come around, I think everything's going to be settled, and I think it's going to be looking very, very good for President Trump.
This is something that you and I have been talking about. I don't want to say how long, but let's just say long. And every election we get so hopeful. We put money and time. We go door to door. We do all the things for all the California Republicans, and then they lose, especially presidential candidates. But here's the funky thing. MAGA's in a funky place right now. We just lost a Trump-endorsed candidate in Florida who was a good candidate, an amazing man, happened to be a black man, which I thought might play to parts of Palm Beach that are black, and we lost it. And I was shocked by that, and it made me think, what does a Trump endorsement mean in California? How are they perceiving this whole war thing and this whole America First split? And how much hope do you give Steve Hilton?
Well, California has this terrible system of the top two. And what that is for Americans who think California is no longer part of America is the top two finishers, regardless of party, go on to November. And that has resulted in many Democrats statewide races, which hurts the down ballot candidates and discourages Republicans. You talk about being discouraged. But California is bottoming out. You saw Prop 36 was a little tougher on crime, gets 77% of the vote. And now voter ID is on the ballot, and it's polling in the high 70s. The Democrat
California is like the test pilot on how retarded policies and retarded politicians can really ruin a place, right? It's kind of like a little Canada. They've adopted so many Canadian policies, and it's led to people like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk leaving California for places like Texas. People don't want to be, like, big businesses don't want to be in California. That's massive. Regular people don't want to be in California. I'm avoiding going to LA because I don't want to get stabbed. I don't want to accidentally trip and fall on fentanyl. Like, I don't want nothing to do with that. Give me a break. California is a horrible example of what not to do.
Democrats will attack it, but right now it's going to be on the November ballot, it looks like, and it polls well. That has to pass if California is going to turn around ever. And so this election matters because we have to get maximum turnout. And without someone at the top of the ticket, a statewide candidate for governor, Republican turnout lags. The top of the ticket drives turnout. And so that's why this is so important. And I think, I wrote in the New York Post, California Post yesterday, that this will ensure that Hilton gets in the top two. What a lot of pundits are missing, and that you and I know about, is you can say whatever you want in January, February, March about Republicans. The unions come in heavy in April and May and put their candidates in place and wipe the Republicans out.
Yes.
So it is a fantasy, in my view, that two Republicans, who are leading now because there's 8 Democrats, are going to remain in the top 2 slots. we have to play this wisely.
I see.
We have to get voter ID. And so what this endorsement does is tell Republicans this is the guy to put in the top two, have someone there on the ballot, get voter ID, and begin the turnaround.
It's fascinating because it really is a numbers game in California. It's very different from any place else in the country. People don't understand. What you said about the unions is so true. That's why my husband and I had to leave the state, because the governor wrote 2 bills to make my husband's job illegal, which was rooting out the exact corruption you're talking about, with the unions taking money from non-competitively bid jobs that the politicians gave them so that the union bosses could all support those same politicians and control every single election. And that hasn't changed.
No, they literally use taxpayer money, right? Because they're paid, teachers unions, all of the are paid by taxpayers, and then
get the voter ID, bro. Just stop letting illegals, stop letting people that might not even be American or legal Americans to vote. I mean, this is crazy. It's ridiculous that this is even a topic of discussion. Get the voter ID. Make sure that people who are voting are the ones that are actually allowed to vote, and that'll solve all the liberal ridiculousness that happens. Anyways, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen with the midterms. Is it looking favorable for President Trump, or do you disagree? Let me know your reasoning down below. Hit the like, subscribe. See you guys later. Bye-bye.